I don't think we have audio. Do we have audio? We have microphone. We got mic. Well, there we go. Felt like something was missing. Welcome back to the Build Show. You can hear me. Nice. It works. All right. I think that was the least amount of issues I've ever had starting a stream. Welcome back to the Build Show, John. A. Vincent Design. Happy Saturday. Welcome back to the Build Show. Tony! Welcome back to the Build Show, Kenneth. Sir, welcome back to the Build Show. So I'm your host over here at the Empower Gaming Studio. My name is Ben Estrino, and I'm here building PCs, of course, and we're here tonight, you guessed it, to build another PC. So if you're new to the build show, I build a lot of custom PCs. The most I've ever built in one single year, you'll see in the top corner here, my build counts. Last year, we definitely fell short, but I think it was the economy from 2023. And this year, we're kind of short as well. And again, I think it's really related to the economy, and I'm not marketing a crazy ton. But anyway, I do a lot of custom PC builds, and we run into lots of interesting issues here, work through them, create solutions, which is fun. We also have the Discord channel. If you are interested in joining the Discord channel, there's a lot of cool people over there on the Discord channel. We talk about hardware. We make fun of hardware. We play some games over there. So lots of fun stuff. Hey, what's up, Mitch? How's it going, man? Welcome back to the Build Show. Oh yeah, I just remembered. I owe two people a response on something. Crap. And I bet they're going to show up here in the chat. If they aren't already. So, anyway, tonight we're going to be building Riley's PC. If you're not familiar with the PCs that we have available on the website, this is what we call the Quantum Prime, except for Riley had a slight modification. Blake is actually in relation here with Riley, so that's where Riley ended up getting the PC. We built Blake a PC, and then Riley's getting a PC. So we have a slight modification where we added a 1 terabyte SSD as the OS drive. So that's really the only difference in the entire build, but it's the Quantum Prime that we're going to be building tonight. Hello, Ben. How are you? I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself, Mitch? John, it's crazy how RAM prices have basically doubled in less than a month. If I'm not mistaken, I think they're slightly more than doubled. More than doubled now. And yes, it is insane to pay like $250 to $300 for 32 gigs of RAM. Hey, that monitor I bought for $650 went on sale for $550. It took some work, but I got Amazon to give me the $100. Nice. That's a good win. You can take that $100 and buy 8 gigs of RAM. I'm joking, of course. I think 16 gigs actually for 100. But yeah, welcome back to the Build Show, everybody. Let's go ahead and get started here. So, got it started a little bit later than I wanted to this evening, but either way, we're here. We're building. So to start off, we have a Ryzen 5 9600X that we're going to be building with tonight. This is a excellent AIM 5 processor to start out with. to get you on the AIM-5 platform. This is a B650M Gaming Plus Wi-Fi motherboard, same one that we used in actually Genesis' build, which was one of the last builds that we streamed. That one that we had so much fun with, which I did finish, by the way. Next, we do have the AIM-5 contact frame by Thermalright, and then we have 32 gigs of very expensive DDR5 RAM. I can't remember if I did get CL30 though. I did get CL36. So we do have CL36, 6000 megahertz PolarX by G.Skill for the RAM. We have two SSDs, like I mentioned just a little bit ago. We have a 1 terabyte and then also a second 2 terabyte. The 1 terabyte is planned to be the OS drive, and the 2 terabyte a data drive. So that is the plan here with that. The graphics card is the RTX 5060 Ti. This is the Zotac Gaming Twin Edge OC edition. 16 gigabytes of GDDR7. So, of course, we always build, or generally try to go towards the 16 gigabyte version. Thermalright is the Frozen Note 240. So 240 millimeter AIO, which is more than enough cooling for a 9600X. It's actually overkill, but it'll get the job done while also fitting the theme of the build. We have a 650 watt 80 plus gold power supply by Sagittap, and then we have some reverse blade fans that we're going to be added to the system, as well as a singular rear fan, the rear of the build, if this fits. I can't remember if it does or does not, but I have it just in case. So that is the build. It's going in the Quantum Prime miniature dual chamber case, similar to like the O11D design. So pretty cool looking case. Remember last time we did this for Genesis build, the case that we got was too small to house the motherboard and the cooler, because the VRM heatsink on the board was just too big. I don't think we're going to have that same issue here. I did buy a case that I've used in the past for this build, but of course, once again, that was when I was using, I believe, the MSI or Asus B650M boards, which have much smaller VRMs heatsinks. So this is a little bit more of a beefy board, so we got to check that and see if we're going to run into that issue again. I don't think we're going to, but throwing it out there, possibility that's the case, and I do have to order another case, but it is a case I've used in the past for this exact build, so successfully. It's crazy. Yeah, even DDR4 is pricey. Yes, it is. Flawless, welcome to the build show. It's crazy how the price of memory has gone up. Very sad. I know, it makes it building a PC very difficult these days because of how expensive RAM is. Typically, RAM isn't something that you're like really worried about when it comes to cost, but now RAM is like the third most expensive component in the entire system, which is dumb. 34-inch ultra-wide OLED for $550, not bad. That is definitely a really good deal, Tony. I would say you got a pretty good deal there. So, okay, so let's get some of this off to the side and we'll get started. Yeah. Nobody saw that, right? It's okay, it's packaged, right? It's got some nice comfy packaging. Okay, so get started. Just doing a little bit of cleaning over here and move some stuff around. May not look like I've done some cleaning over here, but I have been trying. For the record. Let the record be known, or for the record. Oh yeah, in Michigan it's also gotten a lot cooler, so I'm now wearing a hoodie. We're entering the winter. You know how Jon Snow ran around for 8 seasons, or what was it, 7 or 8 seasons, and said winter was coming? Well, winter is here. In Michigan, anyway. And yes, it feels like it's going to stay. Okay, so we're going to be installing our CPU, our contact frame, our 2 sticks of RAM, and our 2 SSDs. Let's get all that taken care of, and then we can move on to getting the case out. So how's everybody's weekend going? Is everybody having a good weekend so far? Hope everybody's doing okay. Pretty abnormal these days for me to have a weekend stream, but honestly didn't get to do a stream all week. I've been pretty burnt out myself. Last week with all the builds and then all of the issues that I had with all of the builds, I was pretty burnt out. So I was kind of happy to have a little bit of a break so I could get some of my energy back. I did have plans this past week, to do a couple of build streams, and then we also were going to do a Tech Talk Wednesday this week, so I apologize that didn't happen. I was a little under the weather, and then I fell short. Empower Gaming, how can you not be burnt out with all those PC builds? Yeah, it comes and goes in waves, unfortunately. I get burnt out after a large wave of builds, and then usually I just work through that burnout, and then, I kind of recover slowly. But this time around, with getting sent under the weather a little bit, I was extra happy to get a little bit of a break there. I didn't have to stream. My voice is actually a little bit off still, so apologize. But we will be doing the Tech Talk stream that I talked about last week and the week before. It looks like, we just keep kicking the can down the road. It's just, we're trying to align 3 people's schedules, busy schedules, and also I'm a major bottleneck. So this week just didn't work out very well. I just didn't want to be on the Tech Talk show and be all like, I want to have some energy when you guys are asking me some questions. I can't complain about my weekend so far. So good. Nice, Mug. And welcome to the Build Show, Mugshot. Any week it's college football, it's a good week. Any week there's college. Gotcha. Yeah, Michigan didn't play today, though. U of M, unfortunately. U of M fan over here. But Flawless, welcome to the Build Show. So instead, we get to play, I think, Maryland next, and after that, Ohio. I can't complain about my weekends. Oh, yeah, I already read that one, sorry. We had no U of M football today, so I didn't really know what to do with myself. Just kidding. I had to go to Micro Center to pick up an RTX 5090 because the 5090s are like crazy expensive for some reason everywhere else. So unfortunately, I had to break my rule of going to Micro Center. So I went to Micro Center and had to go do that. And then I also stopped over at my grandparents' house. I'm helping my grandpa take care of his yard, so we had to clean up all the leaves and do all that today. That's pretty much what I did all day. Glad you're taking care of my friend Mike. I told him you are great at what you do, so I know he will be happy with his build. Keep it up, man. Oh yeah, no problem, Addy. Yeah, Mike's build's coming along. Actually, I just went and grabbed his 5090. So, had to go get that before it went out of stock again. They seem to come in waves, and the waves are like every 2 weeks. But we got the card, the most important piece of that build, which, by the way, is another build coming up, guys. Really big Titan build coming up next week, or this upcoming week. Could be probably the tail end of next week. What I was looking at when all the parts were supposed to be here. This is 32 gigs of DDR5, 6000 MHz G-Skill Flare X that we just installed. And we installed that into slots A2 and B2. And next, we have two SSDs. We have a 1 terabyte and a 2 terabyte, and they're both Samsung 990 EVO Pluses. Both excellent drives. I'm going to put the 1 terabyte in the main. That's the most used drive, with the OS being on it. Then I'll put the data drive in the bottom slot. Roll Tide! Yeah. Oh boy, we got a couple of inventory builds we could do too throughout the week. Then I do want to reschedule that Tech Talk show that we were talking about. I just need to get that going again. All right, so 1 terabyte we're going to drop in here, and then we'll drop 2 terabyte below it. This up a little bit. There we go. We got the 1 terabyte and the 2 terabyte SSDs installed. Now we can go ahead and get our case out. Hey, what's up? Good morning. You know, how's it over there on the other side of the globe? Oh, a little bit too far. Mitchman says, I upgraded my 6-year-old Asus TUF Gaming X570 from a 3800X to a 5700X, cloned my 512 Samsung M.2 EVO Plus to a terabyte. All went smoothly. Very nice. What software, out of just my curiosity, what software did you use to clone the 512 to the 1 terabyte? And also, did you have to do a BIOS update before you upgraded So I think the X570 might have been already ready for the 5000 series, but the 5700X didn't come out until later, so that might not have made it on the BIOS list if you had it for that long. Everything's going fine. Awesome. Awesome. Welcome to the build show. Or welcome back. Did you get that question answered about the laptop? Was that a suitable answer? Because I didn't really understand what he was going to be using the laptop for. Panna, just let me know. Now this is some interesting new packaging, but this is a hard foam on the corner. I assume these guys with this thin foam probably had a lot of damage, so they ended up putting this hard foam in the corners, and it looks like they just glued it in there. So that is a new tactic. We should be fine in this case. Much bigger than the other one. Much deeper. This Morvol. What was that? There was a glitch in the matrix there, guys. Samsung Michigan, Samsung. Oh, Magician migration software took about 15 minutes. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I do like Samsung's Magician software. Personally, I just use a Cronus or a hardware cloner, where I just put both the drives in the slots and it just does its thing. Then when it's done, it stops flashing its light. So, but usually, you know, software like Samsung Magician will make it easy because it'll clone the partition of the 512 over to a 1 terabyte, but not all software or cloning utilities will expand the partition out to the full terabyte. So sometimes you have to do that manually. Hey, what's up, Ben? Hey, what's up, Chef? Wanted to say thanks for dropping a comment on the video earlier. Every interaction helps. Oh, you're welcome. I thought it was a pretty cool video. I actually didn't know, Chef, so you taught me something. I didn't know Thermalright made those screens. I think you might have mentioned it to me before, and I didn't really think of it too much further. And I'm actually looking into those more to see if we can add those or integrate those more into some more builds. And it's good to know about that issue as well. So nice. It was a helpful video. But I was thinking you might be running into that issue if the USB ports are going to sleep and staying asleep. They may not be waking back up. Thank you, my friend, for your answer and your friendly answer too, but I want to ask something more. My friend, when a laptop computer have a 2-core CPU and 8 gigs of DDR3 RAM, which Windows version is good? Well, with a dual-core processor, any current version of Windows is basically going to peg that CPU at 100% for anything it's doing. So a 2-core processor is not ideal today, especially if it's an older with DDR3 RAM. It's an older 2-core processor. It's going to run poorly on Windows 10 and up. So a 2-core CPU with 8 gigs of DDR3 RAM, Windows 7 would be ideal, or a very early version of Windows 10. But it's because the hardware just can't keep up with today's OS. To install on my laptop, for a friend of mine that gave it to me, yeah, Windows 7 or an earlier version of Windows 10. Yes, it did. Expanded it. It's been a while since I used it and could not remember. Nice. No, that's good. That's good. Yeah, because sometimes you have to manually go in there and expand the partition out. But that's good that it did it. Personally, I've never used the Samsung Magician software for the cloning. Can't remember if this pops out or not. That looks like it does. But it looks like we can do 4 screws here, 4 screws here, probably some on the other side, and then we can remove it, but that's too much work. So, heck with that. We're just going to leave the glass. I'll be careful. Do you think Windows 10 Enterprise or 11 Pro 64-bit? I mean, it'll work, but not very well. It'll be sluggish. So first thing we're going to do with this case is actually remove the fans that are currently in it, because we're going to be replacing those. We'll spend a few minutes to free up the cables and undo these fans. Come on, you wee little bugger. Oh yeah, the SSD is going to help tremendously, Mitch, yeah. Yeah, for basic stuff, but as soon as you try to do any type of heavy lifting on that thing with a dual core processor, you're going to feel it. It's going to feel sluggish. But yeah, for basic web browsing and stuff, it's probably fine. But I would think Windows 10, Windows 11, you could probably get away with installing and be able to use it. I just don't know which dual-core processor he's talking about, because there's quite a few of them out there, especially around that time. It was a very efficient processor core count during that time. Yeah, I just did that on, customer brought a laptop in, and it was an older, I think a Toshiba, and it was running pretty sluggish. They needed more storage, and the hard drive that they had in there was failing as it was, so we ended up having to replace it anyway. Oop. Glad that didn't bust the glass. Hey, what's up, peeps? Welcome back to the Build Show. Oysterhead. Onra, welcome back to the Build Show. Ant-Man, welcome back to the Build Show. Tony, I remember when dual core came out. That was a huge thing. Yeah, it was a huge thing at the time, yeah. Intel dual core CPU, I did sign up for the free extended Windows 10 security updates. Nice. So you got some more time with Windows 10. I did not sign up for the updates. I'm just gonna go ahead and make the switch, because I'm still running Windows 10 on this Stream PC that I'm streaming on. Actually, my daughter's PC as well as my wife's are all on Windows 10. I haven't really got that far yet, guys. Bear with me. Alright, so I'm gonna squeeze these reversed blade 120mm fans by Thermalright. They are the TL-C12 or C12 RB-S V2. So TL-C12 RB-S V2. That is a mouthful, but these are reverse blade 120mm fans. I'm going to put those on the side before we drop the board in, because we don't want the board to get in the way. It's going to kind of get in the way once we put the board in there. Make it a little bit more difficult to get these in. So we're just going to do that now. Ahead of time. Watching on Twitch and YouTube. Well, thank you, Tony. Appreciate the bump. Crazy because Twitch is so far ahead. We're all seconds ahead, but still. I like to read the chat over at YouTube, yeah. No, I hear you. Yeah, there's always a delay on YouTube, and I don't know why. I haven't ever figured it out. I think it's just YouTube in general. Did I get a 9060 XT or a HDR monitor? What graphics card do you already have? Don't you have like a 6600? I mean, the GPU is going to do more for you. If you're coming from like a from a 6600 to a 9060 XT 16 gigabytes, you'd see a bit of a bump in performance there. And better frame gen. What? Yeah. Well, not sure I'll ever turn my laptop back on. I have 4 modern PCs here, including the X570 Nice. Yeah, it makes it hard to run a laptop after being on a desktop for so long. Ant-Man's World 1990. What are you talking about? Ant-Man said, so I notice I use 67 gigs of VRAM in modern games in 1080p Ultra on my 4060. Okay, so you have the 4060. I'm thinking about getting the 9060 XT 16 gigabyte. Is that an upgrade? Yes, it would be an upgrade. I couldn't remember which card you had, and I missed that chat. Onra says, edition is a great jump. Also, if you don't care that much about the FSR4, check it out. Check out the 7800 XT, which would be another good option around the same price if you can find it. I know Microsoft stopped updates on Windows 10, not Enterprise version. What do you think about, or what do you think about going to install Windows 11 Pro 64-bit is good for a 2-core processor laptop with i3. An i3 2310M. I'm not familiar with that mobile version of that CPU and how powerful it is, but it would probably work. I think the biggest problem you're going to have is when you go to install Windows 11 is if it supports the security features. It might not even let you install Windows 11, which there are workarounds for that, but just giving you a heads up, you might have some issues there. but it should work. Got this weird shelf thing that I gotta work around. $4068 gig. Yeah. What's Max doing? Max is I don't know. He was here. I don't know where he went. Max decided to go hang out somewhere else. Apparently he didn't want to hear me. There's Dad talking about all this computer stuff again. Oh, the Detroit truck doctor's back. How's it going, man? What's up, Mike? I know that's you. Probably looking to see if he can get an ETA here for his brother's build that I'm supposed to be finishing up. I've been taking my dear sweet time on. I'll call myself out because I know I've had it well long enough here, and it's still not done. It's my bad. I'll kick myself in the butt. Thank you for the follow over there on the Twitch. Piwaka. 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 Interesting name. Yeah, I'll get some progress on it this week, Mike. It's just been one thing after another here. You know how it goes. Is Riley in the chat? I don't know. They knew we were streaming tonight, so I assume Riley and Blake should be in the chat. Well, thank you, Frozen Fusion, for also the like over there on the Twitch side. Appreciate that. Found you on YouTube. Awesome. Yeah, I'm on Twitch, Kick, YouTube, Facebook. I'm all over the place. I don't even know where I am anymore. Thank you for subscribing. My favorite tech. My fave tech. Thank you for the sub over there on YouTube. I'm here too, my friend. Oh, nice. You're everywhere. In the Discord, you're on the YouTube, and you're on the Twitch. I appreciate it. Thank you, guys. Okay, so we've got the rear side. We got the side fans installed as intake, which is what we want. Now that those are done, we can get our studs in here properly for our motherboard, which are all there except for these two. Being completely open and honest, out of that entire Gamers Nexus kit of drivers, this is the only one that I use. I've fallen in love with that Linus Tech Tip driver, which, by the way, I do have something somebody sent me. Nerd, I don't know if he's here. I was waiting to see if he was here, and then I was going to open up what he sent me live on stream for him so he could see my reaction. But I've been saving that for him until I was streaming next. Just haven't gotten around to streaming this week until now. What was for dinner? We had, as an Italian family, we had spaghetti tonight, made by Mrs. Empower. slightly on the struggle bus trying to get this in there. But eventually got it. Only downside to this case. Well, thank you for the follow. Where'd that follow? Oh, it came from Kick. Nice. I was like, where did that come from? I couldn't. It doesn't actually tell me in the mini feed where that came from. It just says Nesto Vibe over on Kick followed us, but it didn't actually tell me it was from Kick, which is interesting. I don't know why. No logo there. Cool. I'll have to look into that. Thanks for the follow over there on Kick. But one of the problems that we have with this case, I'll show you kind of if I can. You look down at the bottom, there's barely any space for cable routing. So when we put the motherboard in, you got this little teeny tiny spot at the very bottom of the board where my arm is. Way down there. Here, let me zoom in for you. Not sure if you're gonna be able to see it or not. Right there. That is your only cable route from the back of the case to the front of the case at the bottom of the board. Or you could go around the board right here. But one thing I don't like about this case is that. And then this just fell off again. I don't know why. I don't have a reason why this fell off again. So what we're going to do, because of that space issue, we are going to try to get the board in there after we route all the cables where they need to go. So that way, we can just set the board in there over the cables and not have to worry about that. Which means we have to run or install our bottom fans first. That is something I forgot about. How much fun this case can be sometimes. So, before we install the board, we're going to put in our bottom fans. And then run our cables as needed, and then we'll mount the board. We've got 2 more reverse blade fans for the bottom. How come you chose a micro ATX? Oops. Thought we were still zoomed in there, guys. Sorry. Here, have a nice close-up of me doing whatever I was doing. What was the question? How come you chose a micro ATX instead of a full tower case? Because this is a specifically designed micro ATX build. So it's designed to be smaller. It's on the website. But people prefer that. Yes, if it was my personal build, every time I would go to an ATX tower. What do you think about RAM prices? Oh. What do I think about it? I'd rather cut my left foot off instead of paying these prices. But unfortunately, you have no choice. I've had some RAM here, so I had a little bit of a buffer leading into it. But man, that didn't last long. I did not anticipate them to go this far. I knew it was going to go up. Yeah, as soon as we heard, you know, what they were doing, we're like, okay, well, RAM prices are going to go up. But I had no idea it was going to be doubled. Actually, more than double now. No idea it was going to go that far. That kind of sucked. So it sucks. I call it a iBros will use X3D chips next. What are you talking about? Not following you. It's good, like Gorm 100 to 220. Or it's gone? Yeah. The iBros will use the iBros. I don't understand what you mean by that, Ant-Man. Most people already got their RAM, but the prices would really suck for PC builders like you. Yeah, it does. It sucks for me. Yeah, it sucks. Yeah, because every time something like this happens, I have to go through and adjust all my prices on my website, which sucks. That's all that work you got to go through to do that. Especially when it's a very custom website with very custom components. I wish I could just update the component, which is not how I have it configured right now. The RAM is usually baked into the core cost of the build. So, unfortunately, RAM gets priced differently in the build itself website. I think this one we don't have to have you come out. This one we do not need you to come out either. I think we could just keep you right there. Okay. With that being said, we got our bottom fans installed, and now we could go ahead and drop a board in here. Bentley. Of course. And before we seal it up down there, I'm going to get these cables plugged in ahead of time. I don't sit here and curse live on YouTube. There we go. The only difficult part is getting that one screw in there, I think, at the very bottom. And I think I could sneak that in there with my long neck driver. I think we can make that happen with a little bit of magnetic magic. We got it. Sorry, my English is not so good. No, you're fine. Gotcha. So it was like 100. I jumped from 100 to 220. Yeah. You're talking US dollars, yes. It was for 32 gigs anyway. Actually, more than that now. 32 gigs over here is like $250 plus. So it's gone up even more. The good news is the video cards have come down a lot. Yeah, but it's not as much as the offset of the increase in RAM, so the build's not the same price. It's still gone up. The cost to build is more now. I'm watching you on YouTube and Twitch, and I'm live streaming ABL, and my CPU load is at 9 to 12%. My temperature is 19 Celsius. Dang. You got your PC built in a freezer. How did you have so many builds in 2023 compared to 2024? So that is a very good question. It's a question I get all the time. The main reason why I had so many more builds in 2023 is because I went full-time in 2023, and I spent a lot of money in marketing. So marketing the company and then doing a crazy ton of builds, and I was full-time. Made a huge difference versus now I am not full-time. This is not my full-time job now, but I tried to go full-time. That's really what it was. It was kind of that push, like, okay, this is we're all in basically, and it didn't keep the steam didn't keep going, so I kind of ran out of money for marketing is really what happened, and that kind of slowed everything down. Most of my marketing today is all word of mouth. So somebody that knows of me that I have either built a computer for previously or knows me in some way, maybe from YouTube or something. I have my window AC running. Ah, gotcha. See, over here in Michigan, Tony, we just roll the window down right now and it feels like an Arctic blast. So that is why I had so many more builds in 2023 versus 2024, and of course this year. The economy also was a huge factor in that. The economy back in 2023 was still riding that COVID wave. I can't explain the difference other than I marketed my heart out in 2023. I don't mean it's low number in 2024, 25. It's just, it's still very impressive. Oh, thanks. Yeah. In 2023, I couldn't even stream all the builds either because there were just so many builds. There was just no way for me to keep up all of them. Fellow Michigander here. Oh, what's up? Progress Media. What's up, man? Welcome to the Build Show. And good to know there's another Michigander around. People call me Canadian, you know, folks that are watching, they're always like, ah, you must be Canadian. And I'm like, nah, nah. I like hockey, but not that much. All right, so we've got our side fans and bottom fans installed. We got everything plugged in except for the USB 3 here. I actually almost forgot about. That would have been interesting. Yeah, when I plug something into the front panel, it doesn't work, bud. What the heck? I'm joking. I wouldn't have missed that. So we got all that plugged in down there, which is great. And we'll have just enough space for a graphics card. Just above these fans. So it'll be a little tight, but it'll fit. We got a rear fan to install, and then we have our AIO to install, and a graphics card and power supply. So let's get this rear fan installed. I think that would be a good move. If I was smart, I would probably put the AIO in first. I'm being even more smart and putting the fan in here because I got to run this cable. And I'm also going to look to see if we can get the power supply in here next before we put the AIO in, so I could get our EPS cables in. They're going to be up here in this top corner. As you can see, it's going to be very difficult to get into that small little nook and cranny. Once we get an AIO in here covering up the majority of this, it's going to be a really tight fit. So getting the power supply in here and getting the EPS cable plugged in is going to be very ideal. A much better outcome before I put that cooler in. So the cooler is going to be like second to last component that goes into this because it's so cramped in here. All right, so we have a regular fan because this rear position is going to be exhaust. We have intake on the bottom, intake on the side with reverse blades, but the rear fan is going to be exhaust. So it's going to help pull the air up to the back corner here and then out as well. What graphics card is going to be in this build? This build is going to have the RTX 5060 Ti by NVIDIA, which is a Zotac Gaming Twin Edge, and it is the 16 gigabyte version, if I didn't say that already. I feel like I said that already, but 16 gig version of the 5060 Ti. Hey? Jeff? What does that mean? Hey, question. Oh, from Canadian. Making fun of the Canadians again, eh? We're still hitting 80s here in Vegas. That must be nice, because you could just go outside and barbecue and, you know, enjoy life outside, have some sunshine, get some vitamin D. Yeah, us Michiganders get a little grumpy halfway through winter because we lack a lot of vitamin D. So, no vitamin D up here. So that's why I supplement vitamin D through the winter, because there is none. Around 5 o'clock here, it's almost pitch black. Talking PM. Sun comes up, between 6:30 and 7, and then around 5 p.m. it's gone. That's during the winter months. Like I said, Jon Snow ran around for 8 seasons warning us that winter was coming, and finally it's here. Close, but yet so far, I know. All right, so we've got that rear fan installed, so let's go ahead and plop a power supply in back here. Now we're kind of going a little bit out of order. Also going to kick off plugging these fans in back here, because once I drop this power supply in, it gets a little bit chaotic back here. So gotta take care of that also. Oh, for the love. You guys have to do that. Sometimes I hate this. Okay. Thank you for untangling thyself. All right, these are all daisy chained. If you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm just daisy chaining everything up. Looks like a crazy mess back here, but a couple zip ties and make it look like a professional did it. If I even would get a PC built, I'm definitely taking advantage of that local pickup. Oh yeah, it's a lot cheaper to pick it up locally than have it shipped. The number one most expensive thing with shipping a PC is the insurance. It's not really, the size or the weight. That's actually not that terrible for shipping a PC. It's the insurance. So if they damage it, it gets covered. And that is extremely important because, just as an example, my UPS rep, when we were going through setting up our account with UPS, basically told me the package has to survive a 6-foot drop. So if you could take the package and go 6 feet up in the air and then just free fall drop it and it can survive, then it's ready for UPS shipping. And that pretty much goes for anybody, any of the shippers. Just to give you an idea of what type of packaging you need on top of that. So the packaging and the insurance, honestly, is the most expensive thing for shipping a PC. And the amount of time it takes to package up a PC for shipping is ridiculous. It's ridiculous how long it takes for somebody to package a PC up. So if you're talking about labor behind it, if it wasn't just me and I was paying somebody to do it, it's stupid expensive. Just as an example. Thank you for the sub over there, Jive Whisper, on the Twitch side. Much appreciated. Sorry, I've been head down there for a second. trying to get these cables managed just a little bit. Once we drop a power supply in here, there's going to be a little bit of madness. And then it's going to get a little bit more difficult to manage this stuff. I'm trying to do it before we drop the power supply in there, so I don't absolutely lose my mind. Tried that. No problem. Okay. So let's go ahead and get a power supply in here real quick. Let's see here. 80 Celsius. What do you mean by that? I think he Fahrenheit. What pair is better for gaming? Chapter for FN. I think that means chapter for fun. What pair is better for gaming? The Ryzen 7 7800X 3D and the RTX 5060, or the Ryzen 7 9700X and the RTX 5070? Well, for gaming, obviously the better the graphics card in this scenario, the better. Some giant idiot. I agree with you for future-proofing the build a little bit, but I would rather go the Ryzen 7 9700X and the 5070 over the 5060. Yes, that is also going to make a big difference. If the 5060 is an 8 gig version, then versus the 5070 that's a 12 gig, or if it's a 16 gig version of the 5060, then that might make me lean a little bit more towards the 7800X 3D and the 5060 16 gig being the TI. What's up, Manson? It's Mike. Welcome back to the Build Show, Mike. How's it going, man? The back cable management is probably the worst thing in the whole build. It's not too bad. It's pretty simple. That's what I was thinking. Yeah. I mean, personally, if it's the 8 gig version of the 5060, I would go Ryzen 7 9700X with the 5070. So you're saving cost. I see what you're doing there. You're saving cost on the CPU and putting that towards the GPU. And if it's for gaming, I would do that, because you could always upgrade the CPU later as well. And same thing with the GPU, of course. But if you want best performance up front on the build for gaming, initially, the 9700X and the 5070 is going to give you the best results up front. And yes, remember, the more you buy, the more you save. We're just making fun of the NVIDIA dude. I call him the NVIDIA dude now at this point, because everybody knows who you're talking about, right? Jensen. Mr. Jensen. The more you buy, the more you save. He said it with a very he said it with a straight face too. Like, he was serious. I meant to do it. You did a very good job. No worries. Yeah, you just gotta be patient with cable management. It takes a little extra time. And if somebody's paying you to do the build, you should definitely do the cable management. 1 second, guys. Remember, the more you buy, the more you save. How many builds you got for tonight? Just the one build tonight. I know I'm lame-o supremo this week without very many streams. But we do have some pretty exciting builds coming up in the coming week. So stay tuned for that, of course. One of them being the Top Dog 5090 build. The Titan. Another Titan will be born later. Probably late in the week next week. I can't really think of anything I really need on my computer. It's kind of depressing. Remember, Tony, the more you buy, the more you save. I've been like that for a long time. I've been stuck in this. I don't really need anything. I haven't really bought anything for my piece in a while. I guess I had its storage, but I kind of needed it. I'm actually at that crossroad again where I need more storage again. But I should probably buy that before that triples in price. That's a joke, ladies and gentlemen. That is a joke. I have no idea if SSD prices are going to do the same thing. Surprised G-Skill hasn't come out and said, the more you buy, the more you save. Actually, that'd be more of like a Corsair thing. Corsair move. Am I right? Okay, guys, all of that just so we can get this UPS cable plugged in. That's what happens when you don't have a modular power supply. You get to do stuff like that. But now it's plugged in. I didn't realize that was that bad. Unfocused. I'm going broke saving, I know, I feel the same. I'm new here. Should I get an Intel i5 12th gen or an i5 14th gen? Thanks in advance. You could go with either one. But in my opinion, yes, AMD would be the better option. Because that generation, you start getting into the 14th or 13th generation Intel processors, when you get to like i7, i9s, they have some degradation. So if you ever plan to upgrade to that version of the CPU on 13th or 14th gen, expect down the road to have some CPU degradation where you have to return the processor back to Intel for RMA. So that is the downside to that platform that you're talking about. And that is why most of the time I advise avoiding the 13th or the 14th generation processors, which also includes 12th gen just because of the platform and the unavailable solid upgrade options there are on that platform. There are I mean, you can work with it if you really want to. But my advice is to go to AMD or go to the Core Ultra series from Intel and just completely skip 12th, 13th, and 14th gen. That is the best advice I can give you. I haven't rode my Harley in a while. Maybe I could trade it for 64 gigs of RAM. I don't even think that would be enough, Tony. I don't think that would be enough. Thanks, you're welcome. I hope that was enough advice for you. Or the advice you were looking for. Might not be the answer you're looking for, but it's the best advice I can give you around that platform. Fortunately, Intel has not done a very good job with that platform. Okay, next we have AIO. Do you think the RAM prices are going to get down soon? No, I don't think they're going anywhere. Not anytime soon. I think they're going to be like this for a while. Obviously, I hope they drop, but I don't think they're going to. Unfortunately, 64 gigs of RAM requires a 30-year mortgage. Practical trade, yeah. Unfortunately, I don't think the RAM prices are changing anytime soon because I don't think AI is going anywhere, and that's just going to continue to grow, and they got to feed the beast, and AI is the beast. That is why the RAM prices are being so impacted, because manufacturers are focused on manufacturing RAM for servers right now for AI. That is what they're focused on. They took production out of because they make more money that way. Of course, everything comes down to money. I can't believe I spent $223. I'm not laughing at you, Epic Gamer. I'm laughing because I just did the same thing. $223 on 32 gigs of crucial DDR5 Pro overclocking RAM at Micro Center. Yes, I'm in the same boat as you. My mind was blown that I was spending over $150 on 32 gigs of RAM. Like $150, like 3 months ago, would have gotten you CL28, just epic RAM, 32 gigs of RAM. Shit, you could buy 32 gigs of RAM for like $80 3 months ago. It's insane. Now it's halfway to a expensive car payment. It is extremely frustrating. Hey, what's up, Bazooka Builders? And Epic Gamer, welcome back to the Build Show. At least a 7800X 3D is 278. Yeah, you could almost buy a 7800X 3D for less than 32 gigs of DDR5 RAM right now. Let that sink in for like, I don't know, 5 minutes. Because you need 5 minutes. Hey, don't miss out on anything. Yeah. Yeah, RAM is stupid expensive now. It is. It is annoying. It is very annoying. Excuse me. Grok said that it's actually going to keep going up because, like you said, Ben, AI stuff is not going it's not going away. It's staying here. And if that means they're making more money doing that, then that's what they're going to keep doing. That is my theory as well. So at least AI can be honest about itself. Can somebody ask AI why they're stealing all the RAM from us? I want to see what their response is. Somebody ask ChatGTP why they're stealing all of our RAM. The cheapest 32 gigs DDR4 kit I could find today was $104. Yeah, that's just ridiculous. Ridiculous, man. DDR4 I can understand because they were in the process of ramping that down. So it's not like that was going to be like a major surprise. You know, oh no, skyrocketing DDR4. We kind of knew that was coming. What I couldn't predict is that DDR5 was going to do this. If I could predict that, I would have taken a business loan out and bought up all the DDR5 I could and then resold it, because that would have been the smart business move. It would have been a shitty, you know, me being not a really cool dude and buying everybody's RAM up and then reselling it to them for double the price. But that would have been a really smart move, right? I'm sorry, I would not do that. But if I knew about it, then that would have been a great way to double your money and then pay off the business loan. And then ta-da! Oh, good. I already had a screw prepped. Even at Micro Center on opening day, RAM is the cheapest. Yeah. NYXL Accelerate Gaming 32 gigs, 3200 CL16 at Wally World is $90 right now. Yeah, that's so dumb. I can't fathom these prices right now. Won't someone please think of a shareholders? If it's okay for Big RAM, it's okay for you. Yeah. I just found DDR5 32 gig XPG for $169 only. 11 left on Amazon. There you go, guys. Go check out the XPG if you need 32 gigs DDR5. I don't know what the speeds or times are. But Tony says over on Amazon that exists for 169 bucks. DDR4 RAM right now is just as bad. 32 gigs is like 100 plus. Some giant idiot says 6400 CL32. That's not bad. Not bad. I've never used the DDR5 XPG RAM before. I've used DDR4 with them before. 6400 megahertz CL32. Nice. Thank you, Tony. Yep. Not bad. Fortunately, this tip is starting to get a little messy. We're about 2/3 of the way through that tube, believe it or not, guys. We got that, what, last month? Whenever you're installing these Thermalright coolers on an AM4 or AM5 bracket, this style, where it installs onto the stock brackets, it's always a really good idea to hold the cooler in place so it doesn't twist. Because the bracket twists on, and it's a pretty loose fit until you get it on there and it starts having some pressure. Or it'll slightly rotate and be a little bit cockeyed. And I hate the look of a cockeyed cooler, so I usually hold it in place to make sure it doesn't spin on me. There we go. Got the cooler installed. Gotta get it cabled up. Can't see what's going on over here. Going nowhere. Right on through, sir. I'm gonna try to get this thing here. Now I just gotta put all this together. All right. That XPG RAM is actually pretty gigabyte board friendly. Nice. Went to Micro Center today. Been away for a while. Man, tech is getting insane. I know it is. One thing I don't like about pre-built is they cheap out on the motherboard. Yeah. I mean, that's why I usually stick to the Gigabyte Gaming series or better now. They've been really, really good boards, to be honest. I've had a couple of them with some issues here and there, but for the most part, for the track record of how many builds I've done, these are really solid boards. And not just like the micro ATX version, but like the ATX versions of their Elite and Gaming series. They're really good. I like them. It's some giant idiot. 31.3C is phenomenal if you're playing Cyberpunk. Not so good if you're playing Solitaire. Yeah, yeah. It's actually not terrible at an idle. It's like 80 degrees ambient temperature. It's not terrible. How's DDR4? I think we already covered that. I have that motherboard. You have this motherboard, Darth Vader? And welcome to the build show. Sorry, I missed your chat there. Yeah, this is a great board. But I have XPG in my computer. It's 5600 megahertz though. For 6400 megahertz, make a difference? Not really. I mean, for like FPS, maybe 1 or 2 FPS gained. You won't really notice that big of a difference. Okay. So now that we have literally everything plugged in except for the graphics card and its power cord, time to do the GPU. And then we have to tidy up the cable management on the backside one final time. And then we'll be ready to fire this thing up for the very first time, guys. We're almost there. When... Do we have an over-under if Ben still knows how to build a computer and it boots? Over-under on the post yet? Anybody? Wonder if we are allowed to start doing that. Taking bets on if a computer posts. This isn't Vegas. Oh my gosh, guys, it's not a Microsoft Power Brick. It's an actual graphics card. Look at that. Still can't believe that happened. That is your RTX 5060 Ti by Zotac, which is the twin. Twin something. Twin Edge. My bad. Sometimes I know what I'm talking about.
They felt really fun.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this or not. We'll give it the old college try. Not too shabby. Drafting time, negative 99 on the first boot, plus 1 on the second boot. There you go. Bottoms high, boys. That's the way we do it. Not a whole lot we can do back here, guys. This is a non-modular power supply, so the cables go with it. Most important thing to do back there is keep those cables from flopping down in front of those fans and making a dirt bike noise. Or a machine gun noise. That'd be just shocking in the middle of the night. Watching a nice quiet YouTube video and all of a sudden we don't want that to happen. There we go, guys. There she is. Built, ready for battle. Oops. Forgot this bracket. Another battle station ready for operation. All right, everybody got their over or under in, right? Thank you for the follow, Manson, over on the Twitch side. Appreciate it. I like it a lot. Thank you. Thank you. Right. Oh yeah, I forgot. I do have this. I'm working on this new view. I'm gonna make myself bigger, but we have both the side view and the front view for future reference. I completely forgot about it. So let's move over to the side view. Who's ready to see this thing fired up for the very first time? Is Riley here in the chat? I haven't seen anything from Blake or Riley. Are either of them here? Do they want to give us the punch that power button speech? Oh, we're here. Oh, they're over on the Twitch side. All right, Blake. Let us know when you are here. Yes, hi. Well, welcome to the build show. I didn't know you guys were over there in Twitch. You guys ready to fire this thing up or what? Thank you, Chef. Do it! Woot woot, Blake says. So here we go. Riley, it is time. You are correct. 3, 2, 1, go! We got some fan movement. That's a good sign. Fingers crossed. I mean, after the last week of builds where everything was an issue, this one has to be perfect, right? Right off the rip. Let's go. Come on. RAM's super expensive today, so give it time. It's a really bougie RAM now. I am starting to get concerned, guys. Yeah, come on. You got it. That's an awful lot of memory training it's going through. It's got to be doing some memory training still, right? All that memory training, it's got to do, memory training, lots of memory training. Doing memory training. Lots of it. Shit. Nobody heard that. So this board is a nice board, but it lacks any type of codes. So I have to get the old speaker out if this thing doesn't post after a minute or two. I do have some other RAM here I could drop in there and see if that makes a difference. Usually first boot up. This is usually a RAM situation right now. Got another kit of RAM. This is Ripjaws, but I think it'll get us posted at least, if it is the RAM. Okay. Night. This is going so well. All right. Back to the drawing board we go. Don't worry, I'm going to shut it off. Everything seems seated, right? Very first thing I'm going to do is test the RAM. That's sad. Sports bet. May the post be with you. We got posted with the new RAM. The new RAM. Because the new RAM didn't work. So we used new RAM. I don't feel like this is $240 worth. I don't like it when the motherboard covers the fans. Feels wrong. Huh. Not bad. It's just a cramped case. It's a micro ATX case. You're still getting the airflow. But welcome to the build show. Peakish. Peakish? Alright, so now that we're posted up, there must be something wrong with these guys. Fun. We'll have to do some further testing with that. But that's why I was like, it's gotta be RAM, right? My gut instinct told me it was RAM. Alright, back to the side view. Okay, Riley. Sorry about the interrupted, suspenseful moment, but there we go. Now we're posted. We've got some RGB on the top too, if you couldn't see it, but it's there. See, it's a little less noticeable when you're sitting on the side of the PC that the motherboard is covering some of that fan. But it's booted up now. It's beautiful, yes. Also pretty. Oh, this sucks. I hate dealing with bad RAM. Sure, they don't get the sticker. That guy's going back from whence it came. Not going to deal with it. Are those reversed blade C12s on the bottom? ISTG, those don't exist. Smash. Yes, they are reverse blades on the side and the bottom. Yeah, in Australia, Australian dollars, 16 gigs of DDR4 was $59 like 3 weeks ago. Now, I just bought some for $95. I hate RAM prices now. Yeah, we all are complaining about those RAM prices right now. It's not good. He said DDR5. They're done. Send them to me. It's beautiful. Well, glad you like it, Riley. The C12 fans, though, yes. Yep, they are. So, on the bottom and the side, we have the TL C12 RBS V2s. And then on the rear, we have the C12 CS. So, that is our fans on the rear, side, and bottom. Nice, nice, yep. That is what we used from Thermalright tonight, yes. And then we have the Thermalright Frozen Note, 240 millimeter on the top. So we got some RGBs on the top as well, which are probably the C12s as well. As well. I didn't know I could say that many times in a... Look sharp, Ben. Thank you, Oysterhead. Thank you, Jesse. Well, we got it posted up and running, although we did go with one bad kit of RAM. I don't know if it's both sticks, one kit, don't care. I'm going to send it back. And we're just going to run the 32 gigs, 6000 megahertz CL36, which would have been the same specs as the Flare X RAM, except for it's the Ripjaws RAM. I'm pretty sure this kit is listed on the QVL list for this board as well. I'll double check, because I usually like to run the verified QVL list RAM on the boards, or I like to make sure they're on the QVL list. Damn ads. Well, why don't you sub or something if you don't like the ads? I'm sorry. Honestly, they're just all the ads are just default at that point after getting, what do you call it? Affiliate? Getting affiliate, I think it is, over on Twitch. They take you like this basic setup, and you're like just clicking through a bazillion windows, and you're eventually there's a question about ads or something. So they're on. Sorry. We don't have ads over on the YouTube channel. So during the live streams, there are no ads during the live streams. So if you don't want ads and you don't want to sub, you can always come over to the YouTube channel. Thank you for the follow. Over there on the Twitch, Peakish. Peckish, or is it Peakish? I think it's Peckish. Peckish, yeah. Why not? Sounds like a missed opportunity. I don't know. I've just never ran ads over on the YouTube side. It's always been a ad-free zone. The way I think about it, Some Giant Idiot, is usually I'm building a computer for a customer, and I don't want the customer, I want the customer to have an ad-free option, and YouTube is that option. Peckish, you are correct. Yeah, yeah. You like the one person to ever get it right. And that's funny because I'm terrible at the English language, so terrible at it. Everybody here can vouch for that. I usually botch anybody's abnormal name coming through here. Peakish, yeah. That's why I think that's what I started out with, but with my wonderful brain, I've worked it out to peckish. Oh. Looks like we need a reload. Make Twitch and YouTube have ads. Move everyone to Kick and then give ads on Kick. Move everyone to Facebook, cycle back to Twitch. Oh boy. That's a terrible idea. I think everybody's happy where they're at. I'm happy where it's at. I don't really care. Not here to make a bazillion dollars on YouTube. At least, if I did make a bazillion dollars on YouTube, that would be pretty cool, wouldn't it? We build everybody's computer for free. It'd be like the free build Ben Build Free show. The Ben Build Free, yeah, that sounds right. The Ben Build Free show. Yeah, make it rain. Valid idea though. Yeah, yeah, it is. It would be a valid idea. I think every big-time streamer has done that to their audience. I'm building my brother his first PC for Christmas. Just bought all the parts. Nice. Yeah, it's... the RAM just kind of eats into that budget right now. Like crazy. But no, that's awesome. You're building your brother a PC. If you're interested in joining the Discord channel, you're more than welcome to if you build a lot of PCs. Got a lot of PC builders over here, ranging from all sorts of different states in the United States, and also quite a few in different countries as well. Thank you, Some Giant Idiot, for dropping the Discord link in the chats. But with that being said, if you are new to the channel and you want to join the Discord channel, we do have quite a few people over there. Good place to ask questions, hang out. A lot of us make fun of things like Jensen saying, you can save money by buy more and you buy more, save more. For example, just we make fun of that a lot. But yeah, we talk about hardware. We talk about all sorts of different things. A lot of people post questions. Good opportunity to learn new things, and we also game over there a little bit too. So the more you buy, the more you save. Thank you. The more you buy, the more you save. I always get it mixed up after I try to think about it too hard because it's so simple. The more you buy, the more you save. Buy NVIDIA. I don't know why we would just buy one 5060 Ti. We should be buying 10 5060 Ti's for this build. That is insane. It's safe to upgrade, yeah. I'm going big when he offers BOGO, yeah. Sounds about right. There we have it. We have Riley's build built, and I am going to hustle through this evening, get Windows installed and set up on it, and try to have it ready for pickup in the morning. Because they are so excited to get it, and they are local, so they're going to be picking up locally here. So I am going to call this a night, and we are going to move on to getting this thing ready for pickup tomorrow morning. But I do want to say thank you everybody for joining us tonight, and have a good rest of your weekend, and we will probably see you again at some point next week I know for sure we have a 5090 Titan build coming up towards the end of the week, pending when all of the parts get here. But we will probably sneak a stream at 1 or 2 in before that, because I do have a few things that I could stream here, as well as we did want to do the Tech Talk show where all of you could still, hang out and ask a bunch of questions, and there'll be a panel of us answering these questions and with different opinions and things. Still planning to do that. We were supposed to do it on Wednesday. I am the big bottleneck, so I apologize. That was my fault. But we'll probably get to it, get it back on track this week or next week. So hang in there. We'll do it. Always a good time. And thank you, Tony. I appreciate you saying that. Thank you so much. You're welcome. All right, guys. Have a good weekend. We'll see you on the next build show. And if you want to hang out in the Discord channel, hit me up there. We'll see you around, guys. Have a good one.